Morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome. Happy Valentine's Day to you all if you celebrate, and if you don't, whatevs. Welcome to another episode of One Patriots Place, brought to you by the E2G Sports Network. He's Thomas Murphy. I am Clazzy Clare Cooper, and today we are joined by of PatsFans.com and the Patriots 4th and 2 podcast. It is the rather smart, the delightfully argumentative. It is Mr. Derek Havens. Derek, welcome back to the show. How are things with you?
Delightfully argumentative might be the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. I love that phrasing. That's awesome. I am great. How are you guys doing?
Not bad, bud. Not bad. Just getting over the Super Bowl and that
Yep.
hangover.
Yep.
The last remnants of the food are now gone, and there's no beer left in the house. I got to go out and buy beer.
Of course, yeah.
And
We're dry.
yeah, as my children age, the beer lasts less and less time in the house. And that's it. The only person who doesn't drink in my house is Butchie, and he's just happy with his root beer and his Pepsi and whatever. But you look amazing, Claire. You look fantastic,
Always.
and let's get it. First things first, bud. What were your impressions of Super Bowl Sunday?
It was one of the more anticlimactic Super Bowls in recent memory. I mean, the game was good. The Super Bowl halftime show was good, but there was really nothing that was like there's nothing really to talk about. Like it just kind of happened. That sounds so weird to say, but it was kind of ho hum. I mean, am I the only one who felt like that?
No, not at all. And go ahead, Claire.
Is it? You've got a point. I mean, it was an interesting game to watch. We watched very good football. We watched very good teams compete. But you do have a point. Other than one or two kind of mildly irritating calls by the officials that I know people want to either blow up or not, and I fully appreciate that.
Totally agree with you. Yep.
Those two little things, it was like actually we just watched a really good game of football that one of them won. I think a lot of it as a Patriots fan, I don't know if I'm not speaking for all Patriots Nation anyway, but as a Patriots fan, I really was a case of, I hope they all have fun, but both lose. Because I wasn't behind either. I really wasn't behind either of the teams because
I didn't want the Chiefs to win. Right. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I didn't want the Chiefs to win because I felt like the Eagles were the better team. 2-53. It's funny because I was just talking to you guys off air about it, but my future wife, my soon to be wife, I was telling her all week, I feel like this is going to be very similar to the Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl a couple of years ago, where I felt like the Eagles were the better team, and I just felt like it was just one of those things where Patrick Mahomes does Patrick Mahomes stuff, and you can't discount that guy. It didn't quite work out that way, but all of a sudden, remember when the Chiefs took the lead 20-27, you're like, wait, what the heck? The Chiefs are leading? Like the Eagles dominated the entire game. The Eagles offensive line killed it all game long. And I could not I can believe the final score, but the way the game played out was a little weird. And again, it was anticlimactic. It wasn't anything crazy. Claire, I agree with you. There was a few weird calls, but I mean, how many really big plays are we talking about? How many big things? Like this, I mean, the commercials were fine. Like the Super Bowl halftime show, Rihanna, gorgeous. She killed it as normal, but like nothing, no wardrobe malfunctions. It's like we need a little bit more meat on the bone, for this kind of thing.
Exactly. No, I totally agree. I think most people were outraged at when the flags were thrown, not maybe how many. There were only 2 non-procedural penalties in the entire game.
And I love that they did that. But it is irritating because when they do that, you're like, well, like, how are you going to call this when you could have called 3 holding calls? Like, you know what I mean? It's so irritating.
On Junior's punt return, I saw 2 holding penalties and 3 blocks in the back, and they ate the flags on that. But they give a pass interference, a holding call, at the end of the game in that situation, and the man's stride wasn't messed with. He wasn't turned. He wasn't slowed up at all,
Yep.
and they threw the flag there. And that's what I think upset most people, was the fact that, yeah, I'm going to become relevant right now. That's when the referee decided to become relevant in this game.
Mm.
So I don't know how you feel about this, but for me, I mean, officiating's a tough thing.
Yep.
And when you're talking about 22 guys that are somewhere in the neighborhood of, I don't know, 5'10" and
Yep.
6'4" and 200 something, 300 pounds, and they're all moving extremely fast. I I know that they're not going to get everything right,
No.
but it's
Mm.
always the consistency
Right.
of the officiating that, to me, um, is the most important. And the annoying part of the game, and we just talked about it a little bit, but it comes down to, all right, you didn't call that in the third quarter. They did a good job
Right.
swallowing the whistles. Now you're in the most critical part of the game, and you're going to call it. You're like, there was probably two or three, like Claire said, really poor calls in
Right.
that game that, unfortunately, they only called it critical moments, which I just don't think is fair. I don't think it's fair to the players, at all. But I mean, that's the NFL, I guess.
No,
So
it is. And the other issue that I had with officiating was the the eye in the sky.
mm.
Okay, there were a couple of plays that had been overturned, and one that wasn't overturned, and it was. I mean, I not with the scoop fumble, but when Dallas Goddard hauled in that pass,
Oh, the
I
one on
thought
the
it was,
sideline where he got
yeah,
sandwiched by the two Chiefs.
yeah,
Oh, phenomenal catch,
phenomenal
phenomenal
catch,
catch.
phenomenal catch. And I'm sorry if you need, yeah, well,
Cool
yep,
down
there
over
we
there,
go,
Claire.
yep. It I'm sorry,
Some serious
but
tight endings going on.
if
Whew.
you
Oh,
if you need
terrific tight
six
end.
if you need 6 minutes to overturn a call, then
Mm.
it wasn't clear and obvious.
Yep.
And that's what the rule says.
That's
It
Michael.
wasn't
That's
clear and
Michael
obvious.
Felger's big thing, and I always bring that up. I bring that up all the time, and you don't have to like him, but he's right about that.
He is. Yep.
It's one of those things where it's like, replay should be one of those things where you figure it out. If you don't, then you just go back to the
That's
call
it,
of
man.
field and
You
you
have
Mm.
move on.
30 seconds, you have 90 seconds. I mean, everybody watching the game has seen every view that you have, and they can tell immediately whether it was a catch or not. And they
So
just can't. They
So
can't get it
how
right.
about that Devonta Smith catch? And I got
Oh,
into a Okay, so I was at my dad's neighbor's house. There was probably 40 people there. I
wow.
haven't been to a Super Bowl party in years, and this was a big one. Good family friends, and I literally got into a full blown argument about the Devonta Smith one because I agree that I literally go, I'm one of the biggest. I mean, you two are as well, but like, I'm one of the biggest NFL fans I know. I have no idea what a catch is
No.
because I agree that the way they ruled the Devonta Smith, he said that it was not a catch, but you also saw it move, but it can move. It just can't hit the ground. But
Right.
you never saw it hit the ground.
Never saw
And
it
the
hit
guy
the
was like,
ground.
"Well, obviously he rolled over and it moved." I go, "But you can't
You can't see that.
definitively say that, though. Like, no one knows what the rule is.
No.
What are the rules? I don't know the rules of the game."
No. If it
They
I'm
lost
really
me with the Hunter Henry one. I'm sorry
I'm
to like
really
rewind,
yeah.
but they lost me
Okay.
with the Hunter Henry one. I'm sorry,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
all you officiating people
Yeah.
lost me with that one.
I,
When you
I
didn't call that, when you disrespected the tight ended.
oh my gosh, Claire, you can't. You kill me. You kill me.
But no, that seemed to be the real officiating problem in this game, was timing and execution of replay.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, replay is supposed to make this game better, and it really, really hasn't.
No,
So
I
let's just
agree.
dump the entire goddamn thing. and and this way we can focus our anger on the person that's dressed up like a zebra, the way it's supposed to be. And it's true. And I hate agreeing with Michael Felger, but I mean,
It's true.
if it takes that long to overturn something, then it shouldn't be overturned. And at no time during a football game, should it ever be, it's more likely than not that he dropped the ball when he turned over, as Derek had just so aptly and balletically, is that a word?
No,
In a
that doesn't
ballet-like
sound right.
No,
style.
but if you say it with that much confidence, it doesn't matter. So
That's fair. That's very fair.
There.
I agree with Derek. If
I
you,
tell
it's the
everyone,
confidence. Yeah.
as long as you just do whatever you want with confidence, then that's all that matters.
All right,
I
People
I
like
just
love
that
it.
one. I
so
like that one.
balletically, yeah. Let's call it a
Yeah.
word. I
Oh,
love it.
okay.
Yeah, poetically.
Yeah, okay.
Balletically.
Can I just say 6 minutes? I hate to say this. I hate to go there, people, because it's potty talk on a Tuesday. But
Oh
6
no.
minutes, I can pee 3 times in that amount. You cannot need to take the amount of time it takes me to pee 3 times to work out if something is a catch. I'm sorry. 1, 2, maybe 3. No. And before you talk again, Murph, because I can get a chance to get all this in. 2022, the most consistently inconsistent officiating year of the NFL.
Yes. Yep. Suck on that, Roger Goodell. Okay. Suck on that. And while we're at it, where are the numbers from the PSI study?
I'm sorry.
Which I want to.
You just called
I
it
always have to
PJ.
get
What's
in.
up, Chris?
Chris actually had a good question that we're going to bring up that Claire
Chris
skipped
always has
over.
good questions.
Yeah, I know. Isn't he great? We
Okay,
got the
stop
greatest
loving
people.
on Chris, please, people. He'll get
Oh
a big
my god,
head.
I love
What did you think of the field conditions, Derek? How did that factor into the game?
I thought it was fine. I don't really have a
Really?
I don't think it was that big of a deal, but maybe I'm wrong.
Wow.
People
What are your
slip
guys'
on
I
thoughts?
thought
grass.
it was a wreck.
Everybody
I've gotta say.
everybody had it was my only thing it was they were terrible field conditions. They grew this grass, this turf specifically for this game. And
Yeah.
nobody had walked on it before then. And it was but both teams had to play on it.
Yep.
That's
The
the
most
bottom line.
interesting thing.
So
Sorry,
this
Murph,
was
the most
this is the
interesting.
first stadium in the U.S. Sorry, Claire, I didn't mean to cut you off. The first stadium in the U.S. that it was an indoor stadium with turf that was literally grown outside. So they rolled the stadium out to grow it, and it
Bring
was
it in.
really impressive when they first did it. And I think for the most part, I don't want to speak for all NFL players, but from the conversations I've had with people, they would rather play on real grass than turf because for 2 reasons: because it actual grass is softer, and because they feel like their cleats don't get stuck as much, which cause so many ankle, knee, hip injuries. The to your point, Murph, both teams had to play on it. I felt like both equipment managers for the Chiefs and the Eagles should be fired because I thought that whatever they were using apparently wasn't good enough. So, and we could all see it. I thought people were slipping all over the place, but it was just grass. I mean, it's not like I don't think it's a competitive advantage. It's just grass. Just make your adjustments and move the heck on. So
there you go.
Anyway, so I don't know. I don't really have a big issue with it. What do you guys both think?
The interesting thing. Sorry, go on, Murph.
No, I really already gave my opinion.
The interesting thing was, it was said that I heard, now I don't know how 100% legitimate because it's only what I heard during the broadcast, but a lot of Eagles players opted to change their cleats or needed to change their cleats.
Yep.
And no Chiefs players did. Or needed to. Now, conspiracy theory. Was it grown so that the Eagles lost because they wanted the Chiefs? See, let's put the conspiracy. Let's just go nuts.
Yeah, but we don't know if the Chiefs went out to warm up and came to the conclusion that this, we need to do something different.
But the Chiefs, here's what no one specifies: the Eagles could have come out in 1/4-inch cleats, and the Chiefs could have come out in 1/2-inch cleats. So of course, no Chiefs are going to adjust because they already have the appropriate shoes on. Like it's a weird. I don't know. I mean, I just think people want to bitch about whatever, but I mean it wasn't a. I don't think it was a big deal. we've had a lot more controversial Super Bowls in the past, and this was too mild. So we're talking about the grass and the cleat length. All right, well, that's what we got, I guess.
Lee, great comment there.
Which one?
We've lost the ability to cheer.
We've lost the ability to cheer when something happens because we have to wait.
Right.
That's fair.
Hey, Lee, I agree with that. Yeah.
Put that on hold. Put that on hold while Claire pees 3 times.
In 6 minutes.
I can do that.
She's incredibly hydrated.
And yes, just to plug my wife, as we were talking about the halftime show. My wife made the comment during the game that she might be getting old, but she's really happy that everybody in the halftime show was actually wearing clothes.
I was talking to my dad. So again, I was at the Super Bowl party, and it's like my dad and a bunch of other guys, and they have no idea who Rihanna is. Literally no idea.
None.
And she pulled up the makeup thing, and I was like, oh, of course she's gonna plug her makeup, all these things, and they go, we have no idea who this is, and I go, she's worth $1 billion, so you should probably figure it out.
There you go.
Look, she's made more money on makeup than she has in music, and she's extremely talented. And,
oh my God.
But I thought she was good. Like, I thought the show was good. What did you think, Claire?
It was fine. It wasn't amazing. I wasn't Super Bowl halftime astounded. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't a bad show. It was nice to watch and things like this. I couldn't hear sometimes when she was singing. I don't know if it was just because obviously watching on TV with the background noise and stuff like that. So some of the songs kind of melted away from me. But I
thought it was a good, solid performance. Like, there wasn't anything, like you said, there wasn't a like mind blown moment, but it was just a really good performance, in my opinion.
I was like, it was fine.
Yep.
I'm glad I didn't spend thousands of dollars going to see it. Maybe, no offense to anybody. It was great. She did a great job. This, that, and the other. I did spend a lot of time wondering if she was pregnant, and it turns out she is. So it was like, is that a baby bump she's showing off? So maybe I was too distracted. Who knows? But no, it was a good show. But I wasn't blown away. I wasn't kind of halftime Super Bowl halftime show.
Right. And she was that she did the entire thing solo except for her dancers. There was nobody else brought in. I thought that was kind of.
I actually almost came to the show today in the little white puffy coat. I was going to do that, but I figured, I was like, no, I don't want to be. I don't want to take away from you guys, and but I was going to come in like this.
You do anyway. With that beard, dude.
Oh God, the beard again.
Right. We are a Patriots show.
We are.
And now that we've gotten that out of the way, and Derek is just using this as a warm up for his amazing show, Patriots 4th and 2, which I'm sure him and Steve will be doing. Steve, we miss you. We miss you, Steve.
I miss Steve. Yeah. I call Steve. Steve seriously is one of my best friends. Yep. I call him literally 5-6 times a week, and I tell people this all the time. I literally just call him, and we just have like these organic Patriots conversations. Yep. And I think the world of him. I really do. I love him.
He is. It took me 30 years to meet one of my best friends.
Yep.
And unfortunately, we've only been in the same room together 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I've only been with Steve. I've only been with Steve probably 6 or 7 times. We went to a bunch of training camp. Well, probably more than that. We went to a bunch of training camp practices, and then I haven't seen him in person.
And now he moved to Florida, and I'll never see him again because you won't catch me dead in Florida. I just won't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. But we are a Patriots show. But out of all the pending free agents or now free agents that the Patriots could be losing, who are the most important to bring back? Give me your 3 most important guys to bring back this year.
So you just phrase that like a woman would phrase that when they're trying to get you in trouble. You didn't say just one, you said 3. Yep. So I have to be a little quicker off the top. John Jones for me is number 1 with a bullet. They need to, the Patriots, one of their bigger needs is a boundary corner, but they can't afford to lose Jonathan Jones because he's their most talented player in the secondary, and he also is the most versatile. So, whether they want to play him in the slot, on the outside, if they want to move him to safety, which I think he has the ability to do, to take over for Devin McCourty. I don't think that'll be the case, but I think he could do it. He is probably number one with me. Man, 3. How'd you go do? I'd love to say Jacoby Myers, but it's hard.
Do two. Do one defense and one offense. Let's make this fair for Derek. I mean, come on, it's early in the morning. It's early morning.
See, Claire wants to make it fair. Murph wants to make it hard. So let's. I'll start with the second one, and then we'll go from there. Let's see if we can come up together. But Jacoby Myers, for me, I'm so torn on because he's a good player, good solid player. He's probably going to get super overpaid on the free agent market. So, I go, I'm happy for him. He's going to, he's a good dude. I mean, like he has worked hard. He was undrafted. He hasn't really made a ton of money, but like he's going to get overpaid. Like he's going to get way overpaid. And then I get annoyed when I talk about, just as a quick aside, I get annoyed when I talk about professional athletes being overpaid because it's not my money. Like who cares?
Right.
Like it's
not
like
my cash.
He's be overpaid. Yeah,
I don't care how much Xander Bogaerts gets paid, and I don't care how useless the last 4 years of the contract are. I don't care.
Totally
not my money.
Yeah, exactly. 1,000%.
Yep.
So, Jonathan Jones to me again, number one because of the
giant
just because of the versatility and everything, and I'm just worried about corner. I'm worried about receiver too because they definitely need to improve the offense. But I would like Jacoby to be around simply because I just think it sounds stupid, but he just knows how to get open and catch the ball. And ultimately, that's the name of the game. And I would like him. I'd rather have him on the team than not. My third probably would be. This is going to sound crazy, but I guess my third would be.
Say it.
I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm so on the fence about so many things, but let's just stick with the 2. I like Claire's plan. Let's just stick with 2. And we'll kind of move on from there.
Well, I want to say about Myers. The one thing is about Myers is I'm completely with you, Derek. I want him to stay, but I don't want us to lose a load of capital on him. Not that it's my money, that kind of thing. Yeah. And he is, he's out there to get paid. But it's one of those. Look, if we're going to invest in this offense around Matt Jones, and that's what it seems to be. When you look at what he had, maybe not this season just gone, maybe the season previous, and the connections that he had, Hunter Henry and Jacoby Myers were 2 of the top connections. And it's maintaining that kind of positivity around him and the dynamic around him. Why are you smirking, Murph?
No, I'm not.
Oh, well, no, there's
the fact that Hunter Henry was in there,
No, but continuity is extremely important in anything in life. And it's in sports and with the younger quarterbacks, like you need those things. And he is someone who is around. So it's like I am hoping that they keep him, but obviously, things happen.
He's just going to be outpriced.
I think so too.
And I can understand that from Bill's point. I mean, we're all talking here about how the team needs to improve, and I don't know if it improves with not spending that money elsewhere.
He's going to get he's going to get over $10 million a year.
Yeah, he's going to get $12 million a year.
That's the number
I
literally
I am happy. I am happy with him. If he came back on a $9 million a year contract, 3 years, $27 million, guarantee every freaking dime of it.
But if he goes to the Chargers for $6 and $60, I'm going to say, go get your money, bud.
Go get your money, dude. I mean, please.
You're only going to get it once. So
I understand. Look, man, if I could overlook Brandon Bolden going to Miami, I can live with him going out to the West Coast. And that's
with the Raiders too.
He went to the Raiders too. That I haven't forgiven. That I haven't forgiven.
That's
I hate
double
the fucking
betrayal, isn't
Raiders.
it? That's a double betrayal.
Yep.
This one's a good one. Joel's put in, what about keeping Damien Harris?
There
That's
you
an
go.
interesting one. I
I
mean,
mean,
they
it
won't
just
pay
depends on
him, but
it just depends on what he wants. I mean, Joel, I don't know
Yeah.
what I don't know what your thoughts are. If you want to write in, I'd be curious to guess your number. I mean, I think he's gonna get maybe $4 million, 4 and 16. Maybe he'll get more. I have no idea, but I don't think the Patriots are gonna pay him. I really just don't.
No.
And I think they kind of one of my favorite sayings is from Fred Kirsch, who runs, for people who don't know, runs Patriots.com. And I love his saying about Bill, where he says, look what he does, don't listen to what he says.
Right.
And I think that's an incredibly important thing because, well, in general, people's actions are always going to kind of show what they want anyways. But with Bill specifically, who's not, over talkative, not like me, who's delightfully argumentative, apparently. I
You're gonna get your business card, because that's what we do around here. We help people print their business cards out, apparently.
Perfect. Let's do that. I love that. So I think they kind of showed their cards drafting 2 running backs last year.
Right.
Yeah.
They were preparing.
One of the biggest Patriots needs that no one is talking about is running back. I'll tell you why. It's because it's not like they don't need to get one like a Damian Harris who can carry the rock a bunch. They cannot give the ball to Ramondre Stevenson 300 times.
Nope.
Next year they can't.
They can't do it. It showed down the stretch of the season that the poor kid was just beat to hell. And they need somebody. They need a third down back, and they need a guy that's going to give him a blow every 3 series.
And this offense is better with a third down back.
Yeah, it is. It really, really is. And my boy Deuce Vaughn is going to fill that because the Patriots are going to take him in the 5th round.
Is that your boy?
That's my boy this year. Deuce Vaughn.
Before you get onto draft, and before you get into
Claire,
you guys are going to
Claire already warned me that I'm not supposed to go down to a draft wormhole, so I have been warned by Claire.
Oh no, she warns me that every week. Every week, stop talking about the draft. Stop talking about the draft. It is.
It is early.
Wait till after the combine.
But after the combine, when I have had chance to scope out,
right?
It's fine.
Claire doesn't understand. She's been around here for a couple of years, but she doesn't know how, Steve and I and you just eat this up. We just love this. Like there's, oh my God, man.
I'm not kidding when I say this. I might love the draft as much as I do like
the Super Bowl,
a regular week of the league. I just enjoy it. I don't know what it is. Well, you know what? And I think I said this to Claire last year. Because I think Claire was asking me about it, and you please correct me if I'm wrong. You were talking about the whole draft, and I was just like, I just like the team building element. There's it's such a fundamental part of every team's success. Look at the two teams that just played in the Super Bowl, for example. Howie Roseman has done a phenomenal job building the Eagles, but if you look at both sides of the ball, they've made some trades, they've added some players, but no team is ever going to make the Super Bowl that doesn't draft well for 2 or 3 years in a row.
And they're
just going to it's incredibly hard to do, but it's impressive when you can do it. And I just love just the scouting process. It's just really, really interesting.
Just diving into film for hours and hours. It's just fantastic.
I'm glad
you
have hours and hours to sit and watch film, in all fairness. Some of us have to work for a living as well as doing this on the side.
When you're as good looking as Murph, you don't have to work that long.
The Patriots is my mistress. I like the draft. I do. It's just that because I can't watch college football, I struggle to get into it very much until the combine. So once I've had my combine fix,
with me, I mean, I don't know about Derek. I don't watch a lot of college football. I'll watch the big games. I'll watch the rivalry games, but I don't sit down and watch college football from September through December. I don't. It's just the division, I want to say divisions, the conferences have become so watered down and convoluted that you don't get those great games every Saturday. It's not even the same sport, right?
It's not the same sport at
It's
all.
not.
It's so
And
different.
what I miss about the draft is when it happened on Sunday. I hated the fact that they went to prime time and they stretched it out for 3 days, because my draft day brunch party was the event of the year. It was bigger than my Super Bowl party.
Well, when are we
post
going to do
actual
that?
pictures of your
You
food
and I
then,
should
though,
plan that.
Murph?
Maybe next year.
Yeah,
I'll come up and
maybe
visit
next
you,
year.
hang
Yeah,
out.
come up and we'll sit down and we'll have it, and I'll even serve it, because it was nice. And we would have Bloody Marys and mimosas and
Perfect.
breakfast stuff and lunch stuff all made, and it was just fantastic.
You just eat and drink for
Just eat
2
and drink
days
for
straight.
2 days straight, and it was beautiful.
Yep.
It really was. And now, it doesn't feel that way because it's stretched out over 3 days, and it's done at night, and it's just like, okay, let's order a pizza and watch the draft and wait until Bill trades back. It was, but
You try staying up till 2 a.m. and then Bill trades back. You try
Oh,
dealing
yeah.
with that.
Hey,
crap.
you're
Yeah.
you're a
Before-
trooper, Claire.
You are.
Anybody
I try.
overseas, I'll tell you constantly.
it.
It's crazy the dedication you have.
All right, but
before we go off the draft, because I have a draft question.
Okay.
You do.
It's
Okay.
not specific, but it's
Okay.
I have a draft question because I'm not going to delve into the details.
No, it's fine. It is early, so
Yeah.
No, but I do have legitimate arguments. However, Murphy's would lose his mind
Stop.
if the
Just
Patriots
stop.
took a tight end at 14. Murph would lose his mind.
We're
Now,
not taking Michael Mayer.
technicality.
I'm
No,
not
it's
having
not
this conversation right
happening.
now.
It's not happening. I have to live with
Would you lose your
her.
mind if they took a tight end at 14? I'm not saying that they will. I'm asking you if you would lose your mind the way he will when they take a tight end at 14.
Yes, because they don't need it. But
Right.
but he's a good player. The guy they're talking about is a good player. I mean, there's a couple of different players, and I don't want to get into it too much.
So many arguments about
it's
that.
just about
I
the
have
position.
So many arguments that they do need a tight end that we
Really?
could do the whole show. Possibly.
Can
Or
I
at least the rest of the show.
Can I ask you something though? Seriously,
Yes.
Don't you think by drafting someone at 14, it would be also like a huge admission on themselves that they just totally blew like $100 million in the last 3 years?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And I know they're not going to.
No, I
didn't
know.
say that they would, and it's one of the reasons why they're not going to.
I don't need a pass catching tackle at 14. I need an actual tackle.
Yes, I know that they need a tackle, and I will sit on the hill and say that they need a tackle. They should get a tackle. We want a tackle. However, there are legitimate reasons to take one of the good tight ends. Now, if you can get one of those dudes later, then that's a different story. But you went into free agency having to spend a ton of money on 2 tight ends, and one didn't pan out. And like you said, that's a lot of money that they've had to waste. Prior to that, they had nothing in the cupboard other than Ryan Izzo, which I am the only person that thought he was any good at blocking that kind of thing. So surely by not drafting a reasonably talented tight end early in the draft, they are setting themselves up for another future situation of no tight endage, having to pay somebody that they would overpay for. Because you can't deny they overpaid.
I understand. I understand your
have
point.
Legitimate reasons,
but
and it
how
was
many?
No question of would it was literally just a would you lose your mind? Yes, that's fine.
Yeah.
How many can't miss tight ends have gone in the first and second round of the last 10 drafts that have actually panned out?
Not many.
Not
many.
But
it doesn't happen because the game is so different and it doesn't translate, and nobody in college football plays freaking defense anymore. That's why we get all happy about guys from UCLA, and nobody out there on the West Coast plays any kind of defense.
Yep.
And it's just this draft is too important to miss on the early picks.
Yes.
And there's just too much doubt in taking, as I like to call Mr. Mayer, the pass catching offensive tackle.
I think he's a good player. And Claire, I do 1,000%. I am honestly, we are on the same page. I know you and I love to argue. Well, really, I just like to argue with you. But I totally totally am with you, but I just think there's just too many more important positions right now on this team, and
Yes.
I think that I they have yet to this will be the true test of Jonnu Smith, because I can't figure it out. I feel like he is so much better than what he's shown, and I know that because I saw it in Tennessee. I'm hoping Bill O'Brien can unlock him a little bit.
That was something I was going to ask you, is if
So
you
people-
thought he might have the ability to, because if
Wait,
it's
I
not
don't
him,
know.
I don't really see if it's going to be anybody.
I mean, they people. So I've had people talk to me and be like, "Oh, well, Jonnu Smith's not going to be on the team." I'm like, they extended him. He has to be on the team.
Right.
The dead cap they have is
It's
ridiculous.
just too much money.
He's on the team. Yeah, he is maybe the one of the biggest roster locks on the entire team. Not a joke, because they have so much money invested in him. And Hunter Henry last year was, I think, disappointing. Sounds like a weird way to phrase it. I just think he was underwhelming.
Used poorly. He was used poorly. And like Chris
but
said
the year
in the
before,
chat again,
he was what he was. You know
the
what I mean?
tight
Like, he
ends,
was solid.
the tight ends have been used better if Josh McDaniels was still the play caller.
And so what people forget about Bill O'Brien is that he loves using a couple different things. There's two things that Bill O'Brien's offenses really do. Well, three things. He's really good with space. He's really good with option routes over the slot, and he's really good with two tight end packages. So I'm fascinated to see what he brings to the table this year, and I'm hoping he can unlock what we haven't really seen from that group yet. I think Hunter Henry was really good the first year, really solid, and I think last year was extremely underwhelming. But to be fair to him, I think the entire offense was underwhelming. So I mean,
I was going to say that exact sentences. I don't think you can judge it because the entire offense was underwhelming, because the entire offense was being coached by someone that was not only splitting their duties, but as we all know, was defensively minded. So, well, if you're saying, I fully agree with you and everybody else, it needs to be tackle at 14. It was just kind of a joke to put out there to ask you to spark a conversation, in all fairness. So people don't think I'm crazy and that
I
they're
think
going to
it's
take a
going to
fight
be
under 14.
I think it's going to be one of four positions. I can almost bet on it. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be tackle. I think it's going to be a receiver. I think it's going to be corner, or I think it's going to be an edge rusher. I'm not telling you that all four of those parts are equal. We don't have to get into names. I'm sure we'll talk again before the draft. I think it'll be one of those four. It's just hard because there's so many different ways that the board can fall, and it's just so early. There's just so many things to discuss. But the good thing for the Patriots is that they're at 14, and you are going to get 3 quarterbacks for sure in the top 14. So you're going to get one of the best 11 players in the draft from a non-quarterback standpoint. And it just really goes, how it's just going to depend on how everything falls. But they're going to get a good player. I'd bet on tackle right now if I had to say. But I would not rule out receiver. I would not rule out corner or edge rusher. The only reason I say edge rusher is because I can envision a scenario where there's a good player that I think Bill would like. And again, we'll talk about it in a couple weeks, but that I could see a scenario.
You can name drop if you need to.
No, it's fine.
I just don't want a tight end, and I don't want a safety. And everybody's talking up this safety kid, and I don't want him. I don't want to spend that kind of draft cap. Oh God, you put me on the spot now. Alabama.
You're talking about
Antonio.
Bryant.
Yeah, Bryant.
Yeah, I actually really like him.
Me too. I like him. I just don't like him at 14 with the holes that we have in other places.
Here's the problem. He's a versatile kid.
Yeah.
Who is coached under Bill's best friend.
Right.
That's the issue.
I know. How much is Bill going to listen to Nick when it comes to taking Brian Branch? The name just came to me, and after you guys said it, but it's just not the place that I want him, and he's going to go right in that area, and I want Skronsky. I really want Skronsky without a doubt, him or the kid from Oklahoma. I really like him, Harrison. And so it's just, this is it. I think we're the only set of people in the country, the only fan base in the country that hopes for offensive linemen.
Yeah, because have you seen?
Please take it.
So here's I'm hoping. There's one thing that I'm secretly hoping for. Yes, well, not secret. It's not a secret because we're going to talk about it. But there's one thing that I'm hoping for more than anything. I want them to throw an absolute ton of money to Matt McGlinchey.
Oh no, here we go.
Left tackle or the right tackle from San Francisco.
I want McGlinchey, and you and I are on the same page, and I want Brown. Okay, we have
from the Chiefs.
Yep.
I disagree with that. I don't like Orlando Brown. I like McGlinchey.
You don't like him?
No.
All right.
I think he's fine. I mean, he's better than what they have. So yeah. I'll take him over. I'll take him over that. But to me, I feel like if they can address the line not only in free agency but also the draft,
right?
Just with Bill O'Brien, they're instantly, no joke, going to be, I don't know, somewhere between 4 and 8 points better per game because they could not block anything. I mean, they couldn't block a common cold last year. So I am very much hoping for some offensive line improvement because it was so bad last year. So yeah, and that's what I'm rooting for.
Sorry, I wanted to ask you that. That's okay. I wanted to ask you about that. Do you think, or in your opinions, would it be double dip at tackle drafting or draft one, sign one?
Draft one, sign one.
Draft one, sign one.
Yeah. I don't want to. If it's double dipping, it's at depth, and I would love to see that happen if they went my way and got Brown and McGlinchey, and these guys came in and filled in behind them as part of the rotation, because the depth was just not there last year on the offensive line. It was glaring by week 4. I mean, even before then, because Wynn had just checked out so early in the year, and that was, Bill was hoping on something completely different in the way that he had taken that move and everything else to go out and prove himself to get paid. But that didn't happen. But no, if they double dip in the draft and get one of the studs early and then maybe somebody else in the 4th round or so, I'd be happy with that. Sticking
but shouldn't they still get a veteran then, though?
Yeah. Without a doubt.
Well, yeah. Okay, if they sign the 2 vets that you want, Murph, what position, not necessarily a name of guy, but what position are you saying that they should take at 14 then? Are you still saying they should take a tackle?
I'm still saying that they should take an offensive tackle. I still am. These guys are so injury prone at the size they are and the weight that they have to carry around. You need that depth there. And quite frankly, they're so in demand that a good left tackle can be traded at any point in time, as long as the contract isn't too outlandish.
And
so I think
two things, not to get us too off the rails, but Murph, I totally agree with that. When the Patriots were really good, early in the 2000s, they had a thing called 3 for 2.
Yep.
3 guys,
2 jobs. Yep.
Okay. And they would rotate. Yep. And not to get too much of the draft, Claire, I'm just going to say this, people who are listening. I think the odds of them of getting a tackle are better because the way the other positions we've been talking about have fallen or are going to fall, I think their odds of getting a tackle are really high. So I agree with you, Murph. I did mention receiver. I did mention corner, but I think corner is a weird spot because it's kind of like no man's land where I think you're going to see the earliest
Right.
one come off at, I would say 6 at the absolute earliest, but I don't even think it'll go that high unless there's a combine just superstar that people hype up. But I
Yep.
think you're going to I think your odds of getting a tackle are going to be good because I think that you're right in that range. You have Skoronski, you
Yep.
have Paris Campbell from Ohio State, you
You got
have
the kid.
who's the kid from Georgia, Murph. I'm
Oh,
blanking.
son of a sea cow.
Why am I blanking?
I just talked about him yesterday.
Broderick
Jones.
Jones.
Yeah. I would love Jones because we need more Joneses
Yeah,
on this team.
yeah, that's all we need. And then I think you're going to see Darnell Wright, the right
Yeah.
tackle from Tennessee,
Tennessee come
who I
up.
think is gaining a little traction. And again, Claire, I know I totally get with what you were saying, and I don't want to get too heavy on the draft, but I think that those names, I think because of what Bill likes to do, he just has such a he has such an affinity for value, and I just think that's where the value is going to be
Yep.
where they're sitting. So
It
it's
is.
early. We'll talk again before the draft, but that is kind of where I'm leaning right now.
All right. So sticking with the offensive line, what do you think of our new offensive line coach, Adrian Clem?
So yeah, Steve and I just had a conversation about this the other day. I've heard good things. He has a bad reputation in Pittsburgh, but he didn't really do anything.
He was there for a week.
Yeah, he was there
He
for
was there
what,
for a
like
week.
literally
Yeah,
like a few months.
literally, people keep talking about and not to go back to the Felger thing, but Felger is and somebody else has been harping on this whole Pittsburgh thing for so much. Not everybody gets along with everybody else when it comes to
Totally
coaching.
agree.
There's
Totally agree.
nothing wrong with taking a job and then saying towards the end of the year that I'm going to be looking for a different job next year because I just don't like the vibe here.
I don't know. I don't know how many listeners.
Come on.
I don't know how many. I don't know how many listeners that are on the show right now, but my guess is 1 in 5, 1 in 10. Have probably taken a job and they said this shit sucks.
Yeah,
like
this is not for me. I
not for
don't like my boss.
Yeah.
And some people tend to harp on how long assistants last in Pittsburgh, that these guys are there forever.
Yep.
Well, the reason they're there forever is because no one else wants them. Nobody's offered them a job for more money because believe me, in the coaching ranks, if
Yep.
somebody offers you a job for more money, you take it.
Yeah.
If somebody offers you an opportunity to advance, you take it. And that doesn't happen in Pittsburgh. They have literally had the same coaching staff since Chuck Noll was there, for Christ's sakes. These guys are just there forever. And granted, some people just
coaching position. So.
Yeah, and granted, some people just like an area, but yeah, I mean, coaches want to advance. Coaches aren't that well paid in the NFL compared to other people, coordinators, it's not.
No,
You're basically a minimum wage gopher if
Joel
you're a
has
wide
a point
receivers coach.
Brian Flores did just leave.
So he went to Minnesota.
Yeah. Well, see, that's my point. He didn't grow up there and in that culture, and he was good enough for somebody else to want to hire.
He should have never been fired in Miami, and then
he should have never been fired in Miami
last year. It was like he was most overqualified positional coach in the league last year. And I don't know, the whole Adrian Clem thing.
First thing I said was, why didn't Josh call Flo last year? I mean, if there's anybody on the planet that needed a defensive genius, which is what Flo was Josh McDaniels. I don't know why that call wasn't made.
But you don't know what the higher up said, because I mean, he's not going to have just complete carte blanche, is he? So you never know what was above him, really.
I have a no, it's not really a board. We can talk about it off air, but someone that I know who works for the Steelers basically just told me that It was really more about behind the scenes stuff that kind of rubbed people the wrong way. But I've heard only good things about him from everywhere else. So
Right.
it doesn't really to me at the end of the day, I'm happy that they brought in some new positional coaches because they needed them. They addressed
Yep.
the issue.
Yeah.
Well, we can sit here next year and discuss whether the changes they made were the right ones. All I know is that they needed to make changes, and they did.
Right. And
So
they did.
I'm not gonna criticize them until I see the performance, because ultimately, the results are the results, and that's what I want to see. They had to make changes. Everyone, I don't
Yep.
care if you barely even follow football. If you watched the Patriots last
The
year,
product.
we're
Yep.
talking about like this is not up to the standard that we need to have as a professional team. It's not. And they have gone out and addressed it. Adrian Clem was the running game coordinator and the offensive line coach that was in charge of Oregon, that had literally the least amount of sacks in the entire
Five.
in 13 games. And
5 sacks in
yeah,
13 games.
5 sacks, 13 games. It was the best offensive line in the entire country.
Yep.
And so they went out and hired him. So
Yep.
we'll talk next year. We'll see. We'll see
question.
how it is. But
Are
I'm
any of
happy
those
about
kids up for the draft?
I think what's the kid's name from Detroit? Penei Sewell. I think his brother, but I don't. But he's not.
Oh,
he's not as
okay.
he's not as highly rated. But no, to your point, Claire. I don't think.
Right.
I don't think off the top of my head any is.
At Oregon, it was more of a collective
Yeah.
success.
I was just curious
than
because I'm trying to educate myself at the same time.
Yeah. No.
Fantastic. Have they got anybody that they could draft?
Question.
That sounds good.
I'm sure they.
I do try.
I'm sure they're good players. Honestly, no disrespect. I can't think of anything off the top of my head where there's one single person standing out. But no, they as a unit, they were incredibly impressive last year. And here's the thing too, like people don't understand that, and I'm not like. I'm just saying this is like a conversation. People don't understand that the offensive line has so much to do with running and passing. And I know that sounds kind of weird to say, but it's like it's not just blocking. Like they have a lot. They have a lot of responsibilities, and there's a lot of protections, and it's really hard. And so when your offensive line is not on the same page with your quarterback, you have a lot of issues like last year. And I thought last year, I know that I am not the only person to point this out, but the receivers, the offensive line, the quarterback, it was a clunky operation. They were not on the same page, and you they really missed that last year. They were just all over the place, and I'm looking forward to the changes.
A huge reason for that was Matt Patricia and his play calling, and the fact that he couldn't.
I'm sorry, don't you mean
he couldn't
play
stack
calling?
Yeah, that's what I just said. Didn't I say play calling?
No,
I didn't quote it. Okay.
No, you didn't air quote. I'm sorry, you just said play calling. No. Play calling.
The fact that Matt was in over his head and he couldn't stack plays one on top of another. If this is successful, we'll do this next. If it's not, then we go back to this. And nobody changed the call at the line of scrimmage less than Mac Jones last year, because he didn't get the play until there were 4 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
So he couldn't see. He couldn't look across and make any changes, and it was really terrible. It really was. It was a bad decision, and I'm glad that I think we're going back in the right direction now, with these guys being not as spread as thin as they were last year.
And to
Great comment by Joel. Yeah,
Joel's point.
I feel Matt was overthinking his job. No, sorry.
No, you're good. No, to Joel's point, overthinking his job. I think Matt. I am not a big fan of Matt Patricia, but I feel bad for him, and I blame Bill more than him.
Yep.
Yeah,
I do. I mean, it's Bill's fault.
I think I agree with you.
I was saying that all year long.
I don't know if Bill talked Matt into taking this job, or if Matt talked Bill into giving him this job.
No, I can almost assure you it was Bill. It was Bill giving him the job.
Okay.
And here's the reason. The reason is because Bill really likes Matt and thinks Matt can be a good coach. So why did he want to give him the offensive job? Because he was trying to shape his resume.
Mm-hmm.
He was thinking that it was going to
get him another head coaching gig.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And
that worked out really well.
We'll talk off air about the rest of this conversation.
Okay, we will.
That went really, really well. I want to ask you before you go. I know this is nothing to do with the Patriots, but it's very.
It's been an hour, dude.
That's true. I could talk. Oh, I could talk to you guys for hours, but yeah.
This is it. It's very NFL of the moment. It's not very Patriots of the moment, but I mean, there isn't that much Patriots of the moment. It's very NFL of the moment. I wanted to talk about the two veteran quarterbacks that are kind of very much the top topics. I mean, one of them may be sitting in a dark room right now contemplating the meaning of life and that sort of thing. But what do you think of the locations for Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr? Where do you think these two guys, or just your opinions? It's not like we're not holding you to this. Where do you sort of see either where you think they're going, or if not think, what do you think the best fit is for these two guys?
The best fit for Aaron Rodgers is jail. I don't know. I
Somebody
don't
put
know.
in the key in the lock and break it in that dark room.
Yeah,
and then
of course. Yeah. No, I don't know. It sucks because I like Derek Carr. I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think he's not great, but he's not bad.
Right.
You know, he's kind of been. I think the Raiders are doing him really dirty. Which is kind of a longer conversation. I think. But you know, they want to move on, and it is what it is. But I think he could go. I think that Derek Carr will end up going to like the NFC South somewhere. I think he's going to probably go to the Bucks or the Saints or somebody like that. And I think Rodgers is going to go to the Raiders, or I think he's going to stay in Green Bay or retire. Honestly, I have no idea.
I would really like to see them just trade for each other.
See what happens. Fun. Yeah, screw it.
That could be fun. Yeah, we're talking about two guys at the end of their career. You're going to draft the next guy anyway, or who you hope the next guy anyway is, because they don't have him on either roster.
Are you saying that Jared isn't the future in Las Vegas? What?
I did enjoy Rodgers is not always fun. I think Aaron Rodgers may be funnier post-career than he is during his career because I find him incredibly annoying. But I also really did enjoy his comments at the golf tournament. You what?
We can agree on that wholeheartedly. That is one point that you and I.
Hey, we found something to agree about. Look at us. We're growing.
Fantastic.
There you go.
I think his comment though was at the golf tournament was hilarious. He's like, not San Fran. I thought that was really funny because he's still so pissed about that. And you know what? I don't even blame him. I totally don't blame him. He was from California. He went to a California school. They passed on him. He dropped 20 spots. I'd be pissed off too. And I can appreciate that level of pettiness, but he's not quite over that yet. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. Just talking with friends who are Packers fans though, I think they're pretty much ready for that ride to be over because as talented as he is, well, my whole thing is he hasn't won enough. He hasn't. I mean, he's a great quarterback, one of the more talented quarterbacks the league has ever seen. Yep. No hyperbole. Honestly, incredibly talented. I think he has, I don't know, I criminally underwhelmed would be the way I'll phrase that. He is not won enough. The fact that Green Bay has only won one Super Bowl with him in the last 12 years or whatever it is horrible. I mean, just not good enough.
It's almost as bad as not winning a Super Bowl with Dan Marino.
Yeah, no, great way to put it. I agree with you.
And that's the reason.
Went to the Jets being in our conference and all that kind of jazz.
God, I hope not, because I think the Jets are really good.
Right.
And I know
I'd love it to happen and it absolutely implode.
Oh yeah, that could happen. Could you see him jawing Masela on the sideline? That would be beautiful for everybody that covers the Jets. Antoine Staley would love that. But two things before we go. We got a couple of minutes left here.
Yep.
We haven't talked about linebacker at all. Is there anybody, that's coming to free agency that you think would fit in here, and why is it Levante David?
Oh, hang on. Sorry, my mom is just blowing up my phone right now. It's like, come
Oh,
on.
go ahead, talk to mom.
No, yep,
Put her
no,
on.
she's good. She's good.
I'd
I'll
love
put her on
I
the
would
pod.
love to ask your
Don't
mother
let
a
him
few
talk to your mom.
questions.
Don't let him talk to your mom. Don't let him talk to your mom. No. We're not having another HR issue on this show after the Antoine mom. No.
No, she's talking to me. Oh, just to give a little peek behind the curtain for people who are listening. I'm getting married in just a couple days, and we have so many people coming to town, and I'm getting questions about my future aunt's
Sister.
dog.
Oh, God. Is it pet friendly?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, what are we? I'm like, what are we talking? I'm not worried about the dog toys right now. I got things going on. I got a show to do. What are we doing?
You got a show to do.
Come on, Mom.
Back to linebacker.
Mom.
We're talking about the Patriots right now.
Oh, thanks, Joel. Claire just intercepted the pass. Oh, man. That's one of my favorite things ever now.
Okay, wait. What were we talking about again? Sorry about that.
Levante David.
Oh yeah. So
Linebackers.
I would love Tremaine Edmonds, honestly.
There you go. Oh, there's another name out there.
That would be I was really impressed with the Patriots
I didn't even know
front seven
Tremaine
this
was
year. What?
I didn't even know that he was a free agent this year.
And I don't know this for sure, so please don't hold me to this, but I want to say he was one of the youngest players of all time when he was drafted. And I think he's just 25.
He is. He's 25. He's 20. He's not even 25 yet.
Yeah.
So
he was like no joke. He was like, I don't even think he was 20 when he was drafted.
Right.
He was so young, and so the Bills aren't gonna be able to pay everybody. They might figure it out, and whatever. Yep. I hope the kid gets his money. Do what you can.
4 years, $45 million, man. Let's go do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, putting him with Bentley would be terrific. Now, here's the only thought on that, though. I could also see them saying, and I've talked to Steve about this multiple times. People are not talking about how well Jabril Peppers played at the end of last year.
That was my third name coming back.
Well, yeah, maybe some are the educated fans, but but no, seriously, Jabril Peppers was terrific the second half of last year, and I could see Bill saying, "Yeah, I could pay Tremaine Edmonds, or I could just pay Jabril Peppers." I don't know, a quarter of the cost and have him come back and basically do that, So
that's much more Bill.
yes. So
it is because there's somebody on special teams that he could be giving that money to.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Somewhere Cody Davis is gonna get, some $420 million contract.
I love Cody Davis as well. Right. I hope he comes back.
Keep in your pants, Claire. Come on.
God. We need to wrap this up now.
We do. Because they're gonna cut Claire's opening if we don't wrap it up now. Derek, tell everybody what you've got on tap besides the wedding, where you're going to be on your honeymoon. What's going on with you?
I am going to the Bahamas.
If you tell them where he's going.
Going to the Bahamas on Monday, which is gonna be pretty freaking cool. And then I hope to be back on this podcast in 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah,
and we'll touch base and go from there.
And of course, you every week, almost every week, you were on Patriots 4th and 2. One of my favorite shows. I never miss it. I honestly never miss it. I just mute what one of your co-hosts. Just mute Russ and listen to you too.
He never listens to mine.
I do.
I actually, Claire, honestly, I think you do a phenomenal job on your podcast.
It's not easy to do this alone. And you do a really great job, Claire. You really do.
No,
I do listen to Claire's show, people.
And if you don't listen to the Claire perspective, then I don't know what you're doing. I really enjoy it. I did tell you that off air, I think a couple months ago. But no, you do a nice. What I like about what you do is you have a nice way of bringing the conversation as a whole and kind of I guess kind of looping people into asking questions, but kind of steering them into a different answer. And I think you do a really nice job of your delivery. I think
getting somebody's honest answer out of them. You do a fantastic job of that. Just to try to clarify what Derek's. You're not steering anybody into anything. You just get the honest truth out of people.
There's not a narrative. There's not.
Nope.
But the way she sometimes what's the word I'm looking for? Gee, dang. My brain is not working today.
You're getting married,
it's like 6:30 in the morning.
Don't worry. In four more days, you are never going to have to use your brain again.
What's the word I'm looking for? It starts with a D. It's like not delivery. Damn it. All right, I'll get back to you guys. But I'm just telling you the way that you go ahead and delegate. Jesus. The way you delegate to people and the way that you loop them back into certain answers and doing things, I think it's really, really good. Honestly, it's impressive. It's not easy to do. So
no, it's not. And look that good while you're doing it.
I have to give Claire compliments because I don't want her to think that I don't like her because I do.
Not this again. We haven't got time for this, so we're going to wrap up on some compliments.
We didn't argue today, though.
At Patriots Haven.
Yep.
So please do that, and you keep up with everything that he's doing. He doesn't write as much as he should. But other than that, Claire, go ahead, wrap it up.
Well, as he said, make sure you check out Derek at Patriots Haven and with the lovely Steve Balestreri and Russ Goldman at Patriots 4th and 2, the podcast. So I'm sure you guys all subscribe to that anyway, but if you don't, please do. And also make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to this show on the
E2G 1,000 of you now.
Network.
Keep it growing.
It's because we're awesome. It's because we're awesome. But that is it for this Valentine's Day, this wonderful love-filled edition of One Patriots Place, brought to you by E2G Sports Network. He was Thomas Murphy, and I was Claire Clazzy Clare Cooper, and we were obviously delighted to have the delightful, argumentative Derek Havens. And thank you very Derek for your time and your insight. It has been great. So make sure you folks tune in next time because we are here for you each and every week on that E2G Sports Network, folks. So tune in next time and go Pats.